good evening, happy Wednesday, happy new day. Hey, y'all. Hey, Arthur, how you doing?
Doing great this evening. How about yourself?
Arthur Chris Allen, not just Chris, he's an author. If this is your first time joining, that's right, you're joining Arthur Chris Allen right here on Storm Talk 365 Radio with Miss B, me, the CEO of Storm Talk 365 Radio, faith-based podcast network, where we help you to talk to the storms in your life. And every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. East Coast time, Mr. Arthur Chris Allen comes in and talks about issues of men. And let me tell you, them storms be brewing, but he got some talk for him. So again, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. We've had a short break because of my health issues, but welcome back. And I know the topic tonight is going to be awesome. So before we get started, I would just like to say thank all of you for your support of Chris Allen. This is his show. I'm just giving him the platform to air it. He does his own promotions. He has a clothing line. He has a lot going on. So please go to Issues of Men, the group page, or connect with him with all of his contact information, which is in the show's description. And he is just doing great things. So again, I just want to remind you that this is his show. I'm just his sidekick for a while. I don't know if he'll ever be back 4 times a month, but right now I'm excited to see him every other Wednesday. So again, thank you. Chris, what are we talking about tonight?
So this evening, Miss B and viewers of the I.O.M, this evening we're talking about the truth about men and women in relationships. It's either love or it's out of convenience. And we're going to talk a little bit about just really breaking down what love is, what convenience is, and how sometimes when we fall out of love or we don't have the right intent in being in a relationship, how it can become convenient. And I'm going to tell you first how and why I'm speaking about this.
Before you move on, I forgot to ask you, most people, they may watch it to the end, but do you have any special announcements or promos or anybody you want to mention in the beginning? Because sometimes they miss that part if we wait till the end. Anything special you want to say before we get started?
No, really, at least not this week.
Okay.
Not this week. So I don't have anything special that I want to announce this week. On the next podcast, I probably will. But as of right now, I don't have anything special that I really. Yes, I do. Really quick. It's something that's popped in my head. If you don't know who he is, there's a gentleman. His name is Kevin Jackson. Go get his album. His album is called Visionary. It is on every streaming platform, iTunes, Spotify. Right now, it's everywhere. So anywhere that you can probably purchase it on different platforms, go get the album. He does have several singles. He's also one of my business partners as far as our new music company that we had started, Music and Entertainment. Go get the album, support this brother. He's been in the music industry for a long time, and I'd say support him. Good music.
Speaking of support, again, I mentioned that this was your podcast /show. Tell the listeners where you have branched off independently and where they can hear you.
Independently, you can hear me on my YouTube channel, the I.O.M Issues of Men. So subscribe to that as well. Also, you'll be able to hear me on iTunes and Spotify. I've added, what is that platform called? Oh my goodness. I'll post it later in the chat box, the chat group. I can't remember what it is right now.
That's all right. But, the reason why I brought that up is because for 5.5 years, I've been mainly using Spreaker because they auto share on so many other platforms. But I recently decided that for Storm Talk 365, we want to narrow it down, even though they'll still be on other platforms. I have not been posting on Spreaker regularly because I want to independently post on the top three, which happens to be Spotify, Apple, iTunes, as well as Google Play. So we want to narrow it down so we can get our listeners to focus on the main platforms that are out there so we can increase our support on those platforms. So look forward to those changes, and Spreaker will still be there, but the main platform will no longer be Spreaker. I'll be using it as a live radio station. But to hear us go to the main ones, and I'll make an announcement officially that we'll be promoting those three platforms mainly, which is iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. Now, there are a lot of others out there. I'm not saying that, we're not going to be there. We are. It's just that we're going to provide you with links to the individual people who are posting, such as Chris himself, and he's already on it independently of Storm Talk 365. But I'll be focusing on those three main platforms moving forward next month. So whatever has not been posted from Chris on his own will be posted manually on those networks as I move forward. So a lot of new changes. We want to increase our listenership and focus not all over the place. It's just like a buffet. You got too much stuff, people get confused. So we want to direct them in the right direction. So Chris, thank you so much for giving me that opportunity to put that out there. So I'm listening. Go ahead.
You are welcome. Going back to why I'm talking about what I'm going to talk about tonight, as far as it's either love or convenience. I had a conversation with a middle-aged woman, and she told me specifically, and it kind of took me back for a second, like, wow, like for real, like really? She had told me that it's not always about love, but convenience. And I was like, wow, what is that about? And basically she was saying that, just to sum it up, is that sometimes when you're in a relationship with somebody, especially if you're married, there's a place sometimes you fall in love with somebody might have done something with you and done something to you, something that you feel that you forgave, but somehow you still carrying this grudge, or you feel like I'm just doing me because my partner is not understanding. He's not hearing. I don't want to leave because of my religious beliefs, things of that nature, but I'm going to do me, and things become convenient. And so what I want to do is sort of kind of break down right now, what the definition of love is, and what the definition of convenience, and what love and convenience combination, what's a convenience love. You know what I mean? So I would just say that in the terms of, we talk about love. I feel that love can be a strong feeling that you have for somebody. An intense feeling, a deep feeling, an affection, a strong feeling of a constant affection for a person, an attraction, desire. Someone that you may love in a romantic way, but it doesn't always have to be. But in this particular situation tonight, in this conversation, we're just going to focus on the relationship aspect. So romantically, sexually. And so, Ms. B, what would be your definition of what love is?
What's love got to do with it? It's all about convenience. What you talking about?
What's love got to do with it?
Wow. I'm 65. I love saying that. I am 65. And that's not a surprise to me. A lot of people have affection But a lot of people wind up staying because it's convenience. A lot of people do get married because it's convenient. Hey, tax break. It's better to have a half a man than no man. It's a whole lot of reasons why people get married, and love is not the main component. And I have to be honest with you. So, and especially with the morality change now, um, it used to be love is everything, but no, it's like, okay, we got an agreement, don't get funny on me. Even some of the more notable relationships, such as Will Smith, and it's something when different people decide how their relationship should be. Um, and so my take on that is, and I have to say, to be honest, I'm a realist. Whatever floats your boat, you know what I'm saying? If it's agreeable to each one of you, who am I to say my moral compass says you're wrong? I prefer to have love to be the main component, but then who am I don't run the world, girl. We rule a certain amount, but when it comes to love, whatever floats your boat. Some people get married because you know they're in a same-sex relationship, but on the outside they want to appear to be heterosexual, so they have relationships of convenience. um,
Hmm.
Financially, it's a better tax write-off. It's a protection from other family members getting your inheritance. It's a lot of things. So unfortunately, Chris, love does not have everything to do with it.
It does not. And, you know, I've just come to realize that, you know, as far as myself, because, through my own personal experiences, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in the podcast, others' experiences and conversations, it just, all relationships are not perceived, or they're not, every relationship is not based on love. And, it's be like, I figure like oftentimes the truth um, is that our traumas, our feelings, our guilt, woulda, coulda, shouldas, our desires to acquire or to have something that someone else has, it definitely put us in situations that create situations of obligations that are sometimes unrealistic, and it continues this cycle of hurting individuals, or breaking individuals, having these broken relationships. And um, what I wanted to add on as well as this evening is talk about people to really analyze and think about: are you in a relationship out of love or convenience? And I'm not telling you what to do in your relationship, because definitely I'm not doing that. But if, again, like Miss B said a little bit earlier, if it works for you, it works for you. Um, it's just that I hate seeing people being hurt or being used in the process. Um, and we talk about uh, convenience, Miss B, the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Um, the fact that something, may be easy, something that is useful, helpful to one party, maybe not the other. Because usually in most relationships, there's not balance. There's a giver, a nurturer, and then there's someone who is a taker, a user, or some type of abuser. Um, and so that there's no balance within that. And sometimes that's how these situations are created, um, where whereas at one point in time, the balance is, you have a little bit of, you might be in love with the person. Um, you love that person, but you're not in love with the person. It can stand out of convenience, finances, economics, could be religion, it could be arranged marriages and situations. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, and how we do and how we live. Um, and when I say talk about love and convenience, in my opinion, Miss B, we talk about it's more than a friendship, but less than love, kind of in the middle somewhere. I was like, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I try not to bring scriptures in, but for those of you who are watching and you're faith based, um, the Bible tells us we should do all things in love. And it also says if you don't know love, you don't know God. So if you're faith based and you think it's okay to pretend to love someone for self gain, um, look in the mirror and see if that's really using spiritual integrity. And if you're not involved in any type of spiritual faith, still think about the integrity part of it. How would you feel if it was returned and people used you as a convenience? And a lot of people don't even realize that they're being used as convenience. But however, let's get back to, for conversation's sake, that everyone is a willing participant in this convenience thing. Think about, I'll be honest with you. Let's think about this. I'm 65. My husband is younger than me. But, sometimes when you're in your 60s and 70s and you've been going through hell in the marriage, and then you realize, where am I going after 40 years of marriage? Our retirement is connected, our Social Security and health insurance. If I leave, he can't. There's a lot of things, especially in an older age, you do stay and say, I knew a couple that had separate bedrooms. The wife had the master bedroom with the big bed, and the husband was in a smaller room with twin beds. And if they decided they wanted to hoot your mama, they put the twin beds together and then pushed them apart. But they, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of reasons why people do what they do. And, again, I'm not going to say I agree. You don't need my approval or my agreement. It's whatever works for you. But be careful that it does not hurt someone, that it does not cause someone harm emotionally or financially because you're being selfish. If you don't love that person, let them go. It's wrong to have somebody involved in a relationship, even if you are in your 60s and 70s. you know um, I have seen people who stay married for all the right reasons, but they live separately. And hey, how you doing? Everything okay? That's good. And somebody's in Vienna, and the other person is in Europe. They can afford to do that. Or somebody else is in North Carolina, another one in Virginia. They still married because of health insurance and all these other things. But that's a very interesting subject again because of the moral construct of society now does not focus on love. It focuses on an attraction, convenience, necessity. I heard somebody say they were married for 30 days. Good Lord, that's a long marriage, ain't it? I'm just saying.
Extremely long. I mean, it topped me.
You need to stop.
But
I'm serious. 30 days, but go ahead.
That's crazy. I said when we talk about terms of relationship, when I was like it's more than a friendship, but less than love. When you're in a convenient situation, sometimes it's almost like you're waiting. When you say convenience, like waiting for someone to leave, or you want to minimize your loss or your risk at the time. So when you leave, there'll be little inconvenience, little risk or financial hardship when you do leave. And I think people live in convenience as well. We talked about, a little bit about that, the hardship, the financial aspect, or, I need insurance right now. I can't afford to get it on my own.
You know what? I got to say this.
Next best thing comes along.
I'm sorry. You brought up a very important point, and I forgot to mention it. When we're talking about, it's not necessarily the elderly. How many people are in relationships, have health issues, depending on that other person to take care of them? And if they did not take care of them, they would wind up in a nursing home or some type of facility. And a lot of times it's like, okay, well, I don't want to wind up there. Can you stay with me to do this and still live your life? And I actually, the reason why I say this is because I actually did in-home health nursing. And the man used to take care of his wife and bring his girlfriend in the house. And they had their own bedroom, but the wife was still, and can you imagine how the wife felt? And a couple of times I would go there and she was in the bed by herself. How front door open, they're gone. She in the bed by herself. And I reported it, but it's just people are in relationships for a lot of reasons, and it's not always healthy.
It's not always healthy. Which I would just say that no relationship is really sunshine. You know, um, I would say all the time, um, but definitely it's a place where two people can get together, and make it work. You know, to the best of your ability. Still treat each other with respect, and continue to do what you're doing. Um, regardless of what the situation is. It's almost like, regardless if it's raining and snowing or it's sunshine in your life or plenty of rain, torrential rains. If you're both under this umbrella and you're supporting and helping each other, sometimes that makes it better, makes it okay. But definitely support each other in whatever which way that you decide to go. Um, I'm not judging anybody, but one of my personal opinions is you can never stop it. But I just think that, in any relationship, either you stop it, if you're going to continue with it, it should never get to a point of convenience or, to the point where, you're hurting each other. Um, but um, like you said, there's no way around it. So do you think there's such thing as convenient love? Or convenience and love? Can they both exist in the same place at the same time?
So what
Can having convenient love or love convenience, can they be in the same space at the same time? Or can it operate, can you be in a convenient situation, but
now? Look,
also
let
be
me
loving
tell
at the
you
same
something.
time?
You read the definition of love, right? You read the
Yeah,
definition
yeah,
of love. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay. That ain't love. It's an arrangement.
yeah.
It's a respect for each other. Now, love has things to go with it. Just like when you make a spaghetti dinner, most people expect some type of sauce, some type of meat, bread, maybe a salad, some stuff to go with it. But if you're just gonna feed somebody a plate of spaghetti with nothing on it, that's not a spaghetti dinner. So when you want to have a relationship, you got to have some sauce, add some meat and spice to it, add a little extra on the side. Other than that, you just got a plate of plain spaghetti. You got a plain relationship with an agreement. People, and it's not, and I've been through this, in love and loving somebody. Okay. My relationship with Christ dictates to me, I love unconditionally. So when you read the description of love, all right, either you love them or you don't. Ain't no such things love or in love. And ain't no such thing as falling out of love. Either you love them or you don't. My ex-husband and I, no, all in water. Separated, divorced, all of that. I love me some ex-husband. You know why? Because he is who he is. He's in his place. I'm human. I messed up. He messed up. Who am I not to love? Ain't no such thing as falling out of love. Love has nothing to do with romance. Love is an affection towards somebody that you respect. You read the definition. So either you love them or you don't.
Yeah, I think it's love. Sometimes I think we get frustrated. Sometimes I think we lose our patience. But definitely, if you're not in love with somebody, I've never personally been able to stay in a convenient situation. It just doesn't make
It
sense.
ain't convenient. It's a mess.
I know,
It's a hot mess. I don't care if it's a medical, financial, I don't care what it is. It's still a hot, no, it's a hot mess, Chris. I'm not trying to be funny. If you got to stay, if you
oh,
got
I
to
know.
have somebody stay with you to take care of you, you're going to feel like you that's not a cool place to be in for either person. Find it, whatever, it's a hot mess. It's sad, but
And
people choose it.
Miss B, Viewers, I'm just, um, there's a very low percentage of men that think, um, or there's a higher percentage of women who would live in a convenient situation, and they'll ride them wheels, until they fall off to acquire and get what they want. Whereas men, there's not a high percentage of men that would actually do that or think of that or want to stay in something to get what they think they deserve or get whatever they're going to get out of the situation or the person and move on. Um, and a very high percentage of men just don't think like that or put themselves in those type of positions to do such unless they're taught or they operate in the capacity of we operate more in the capacity of men might lie or do certain things in order to um, fulfill their desires sexually or have sex, but um, they'll manipulate for that, but we know not it's not normally for money, not unless you're taught how to do this or you're like a narcissistic type of individual or person, you know what I mean?
I
um,
do.
so
I
I
do.
know for me is that yeah, I just can't do it. I mean, I'll put
No,
forth my
men,
best.
I cannot
Um,
say I know all men, but based on the behavior I've seen, a man will bounce where a woman will pounce. In other words, a man will get out of a situation. This ain't working. It ain't worth it. I don't care. You can have a house, car, keys. I don't care. I'm out. I don't care how eye candy you are. I'm out. Bye. A woman will pounce.
I've done it.
Oh, I'm staying. You ain't leaving me. No. You see what I'm saying? She will pounce financially or just to control you. Oh, you think you're going somewhere and gave you 2 days of my life? And oh, after all I've done for you, I got your clothes out to cleaners. You ain't leaving me. You see what I'm saying? I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying in the mindset of convenience, that's not convenience. That's being used. That's being manipulative. It's showing their insecurities. But a man will bounce before they put up with the foolishness or even give you that much foolishness, especially if they know it ain't working. It ain't no use. No, women have a very I shouldn't say that. I have seen women in general have a very pounce on it attitude where a man will bounce out of it. You see what I'm saying? Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, I definitely it makes sense. And so, is using someone or having this convenience factor, is it a function of being in a relationship? Is it a function of being in a relationship using some? I mean, because um, matter of fact, what I'm trying to say is that um, like the only type of people that would get something out of this or be fulfilled is, like I said earlier, like a narcissist, a selfish, or a vengeful person, or a person who is void of uh, any type of positive emotion. In my opinion, I'm just, I may be wrong.
No, that's not a relationship. We have to call a spade a spade. There's some serious mental health issues with someone who does that, and a lot of people who does that, they do not know how to have a relationship based on their exposure as a child, as a young adult. They may not know how. A lot of people have attitudes of so and so did this to me, so I'm gonna do them in before it happens again. There's a lot of reasons why people have those unhealthy associations. That's not a relationship at all. It's not a relationship. And I think, Chris, on some of your earlier videos, you talked about some of the dysfunctional relationships you have been in. And to me, the world is full of people who aren't able to put on the big girl underwear and accept responsibility for their negative behavior. It's always somebody else's fault or somebody owes me something. So again, it's a sucky
Right.
situation, regardless of why it's recreated.
And there was a quote. There's a lady. Her name is Bob. Her name is Bonnie Feister, and Bonnie said that convenience is the thief that robs us of experiencing a rich life, a life led by doing what's right, healthy, and good. And I definitely agree with her in regards to that. And Ms. B, there was another post that I read that talked about, it said, we belong to the times of selfishness. We flaunt the idea of narcissism. We possess the attitude of arrogance. But the worst reality that we would never accept or admit is that we belong to the era of convenience. We are indulged in the relationships of convenience. And when I sat after reading that, I was like, wow. And I was like, this is, I mean, I was like, wow, it's true. Can't, one way or the other, whether you're in love, there's times that, there's sacrifice that's involved as well. You're not going to have everything. You're not going to win every argument, all your situations. But there are times that, being in a relationship is just convenience, even as far as building your retirement or certain things that you have. It's just it's a give and take relationship. It's a convenience love relationship. I think it only gets bad when love is not involved in.
You know what's worse than love not being involved? Respect. See, let me tell you, you don't have to love me, but you're going to respect me. And if you're going to do what you got to do, still do it with respect. In other words, that man who left his invalid wife in the bedroom and moved in his women, prostitutes, that's what they were, and let them come stay weekends or whatever, and she could hear the conversation and all that kind of foolishness. No, that's not going to happen. Do what you got to do away from the house. You ain't got to love me, but respect me. And so a lot of people have that. You may not love me, but you're going to respect me. And so when Jada was talking about her situation, I'm not criticizing anybody, whether you got money or not. But there comes a time where you grow apart, but you still respect each other. You understand what I'm saying? Don't walk through the house talking loud on the phone about, to other people and have, it's just a lot. Do what you got to do, but you still can respect. You ain't got to love me, but respect me. And that's greater than the love itself. You see what I'm saying? Let me take a short break. We'll be right back.
It goes a long way.
Yes, it does. Let me take a short break. Be right back. Hey everybody, this is Miss B, Positive and Miss B. You're joining us, author Chris Allen, on our Issues of Men episode that comes on every other Wednesday at 7 p.m., the first and third Wednesday of the month, with different issues that men rarely talk about. And it's not just about men, women too. So today we're talking about love and love for convenience. What you just saw was a short clip of me. That's why I have a commercial. I come on every Friday morning, 9 a.m. East Coast time on the Preach the Word Network. You can find me talking about scriptures. If it's true, how's it working for you? I just simply use a scripture and then ask you if it's true, how's it working for you? You can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Positively Miss B, or on demand on the Preach the Word Network, where all of our videos are recorded live. That's again the Preach the Word Network, 9 a.m. East Coast time. I'm on Daystar, I'm on Roku, I'm on local channels in Atlanta. If there's a TV station, I'm on it. So thank you so much for watching. Not only Storm Talk 365 videos, but joining me on the Positively Miss B Spiritual Realist episodes. So Chris, before we left for break, we've talked about a lot, but mostly is I made the statement, you may not love me, but respect me. So if it's a arrangement where all of us agree we're going to stay together because we've been together and our bills are tied up. I don't want to sell a house. We got all this stuff together. So we're just gonna make an arrangement, And so rich folks call it a prenup, and poor folks call it an afternup. What we're gonna do now? All right, let's fix this, sister. Okay, so we're gonna make sure.
Acting up.
Yeah, afternup. That's it. All right, so that's just my take on that. What else we got to talk about? After you like that afternup?
And so, yes, I do. Acting up and acting up. So, I just wanted to say to that, you know, I've been in a situation where it became a convenience ship, and when a relationship lost this luster, when it lost that it became convenient, and I noticed that that's when things get ugly, because if there's not an out, things can get very bad. But like I said, it never worked for me, and for my peace of mind, because I love myself. And a lot of people said I was crazy for doing it, but I left. I left the house behind. I got my name.
I always find somewhere else to live.
Look, yeah, like boom. Look, this is you, the kids, whoever. Take it. You know what I'm saying? You got the furniture, you got everything. You can't say that I've been overly generous and fair. Yeah, I could have been nasty, but that's just not me. I've been blessed beyond measure for not being nasty or overly nasty, because sometimes you have to be. But like I said, it never worked for me. And it reminds me of, like, if you buying gifts or you buying roses for somebody, right? The symbolism of love is there, or you want to do right by somebody. But if there's no purpose there's no love behind what you're doing, or there's not that bond and that connection, it doesn't serve a purpose outside of pretending that something is great, it feels good, I'm just doing this, but whatever your intent and motive is. But again, if you're not operating out of love, keep it moving. Never stay for convenient situations if you can help it. And I think even too, when people get into convenient ships, there was an author, her name is Rachel Hawthorne, and she said that deception may give us what we want for the present, but it will always take it away in the end. So you may have something, you may get what you want in the beginning, but by the time it's all over and done, was it really worth it? For the pain, the trauma, all the things that you're going through, was it really worth it? So again, sometimes relationships come with somebody pretending to love you, or to achieve or get what they want. So deception, it has this many. I can't think of the word right now, but again, deception is not good. You shouldn't use that to get or use or acquire something from somebody, because again, it always swings back around. So Ms. B, what did you think that Bonnie Hawthorne meant with that statement, that deception may give us what we want for the present, but it will always take it away in the end?
She nailed it. Listen, what's done in the dark will soon come to light. When you do something with bad intentions, you don't win permanently. Deception is deception. Listen. One thing I learned: if you lie about something, you'll cheat about anything. So when you go into relationships, speaking of which, let me just give you this. I've been a supervisor for a long time, and I used to tell the people that I supervise, stop stealing your paycheck. Listen, you go in for this job interview, right? You see what they ask of you, and in return, you either ask for the salary or you accept it. So XYZ in exchange for money. But as soon as you get the job, all of a sudden you want the money, but you ain't trying to give the XYZ. You cut corners, you may not do it, but don't let that check be late. So
Right.
eventually what's going to happen? You'll get a poor performance or you can get fired. But it's going to be the employer's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. You go into these relationships with, oh, I'll never cheat on you. I'll take care of you. Oh, yes, we can do this. You get the relationship, then all of a sudden everything go down south. And then you want to blame the other person. Well, you the one that married me. Well, you the one that did this. Well, what about your obligations? I ain't never make you no promises.
That you pursued me.
You see what I'm saying? So what's going to happen is, yeah, they may get out of that relationship, but the next relationship, they're going to catch it. They're going to catch
Oh,
it.
yeah. Absolutely.
It comes back to you. What goes around comes around. Karma is a bee, whatever you want to call it. What you sow, you reap. You can put whatever you want on it. But when you get into these relationships and you're deceiving people into thinking you're one person or going to do this, it's going to happen. Just like with employers, they're going to get tired of your foolishness and they're going to fire you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? You got a bad reference.
And look, you can't even put it on the paper. And they're going to ask you, what was this gap, length of time that you had because you didn't put it on the paper? So you're really defeating yourself. But you can put on an application to say, hey, I don't want you to contact this person, these people, or vice versa. So, that's
And you know what? That was the
it's a
smartest, dumbest thing anybody could ever say. You're going to say, why don't you want me to contact them? That's a red flag right there. They don't like me. Why? Well, I just rather you not. Well, how am I going to check your reference if you don't? You just done told the people you got a bad reference without even checking.
Yeah.
How dumb is that?
Listen.
And 9 times out of 10 in human resources, yes, he worked here for such and such and such, and that's all they're going to say anyway. But they don't even know. I'm sorry. Go ahead, baby. We got 7:42. What you got?
We got a few minutes left. All right. So there was an individual named Du Platt. And Platt says, a lot of what we do in a relationship involves compromises. A lot of our relationships are exchanges in currencies like affection, acceptance, money, sexual and other pleasures. It includes shelter, convenience, belongings, etc. The self in relationship with the communal is always trading something. The important question is, what aspect of self should not be traded? And some people sell their souls to be able to live in a big house, to drive a expensive car, to wear name brand clothes, and things of that nature. So, that's a very important question, is in any relationship that you have, how much of yourself should not be traded? And some people have already went across the line of what should be traded and not traded. And so some people feel like they cannot come back now, or they can't stop what they're going to do, or the precedents that they set in that relationship. They may not be able to stop doing what they're doing in fear of them not getting the main reason why they were there in the relationship, in that convenience ship. Your thoughts on that?
Well, number one, if you think so little of yourself that you have to give up yourself in order to get something for yourself, that what you want for yourself is less important than yourself, then you already got issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to say you get what you deserve, but you deserve what you get, because you go into it knowing that you're being controlled, you're compromising not only your integrity, but your life itself in order to gain something that may or may not last. So many kept women, they, look good. You know what? Forget it. Let's just look at this. Let's just look at the former president and first lady, Eye Candy. Who knew he was going to wind up in the White House? She is one miserable little woman, but she sold herself down the tube in order to have this high profile man as a husband. He dogged her, dogged every other woman he ever been with, including his children. And but she's still with him because what? Where's she gonna go? She's an immigrant.
Yeah,
She ain't got
prestige,
nothing on
money.
her own.
Uh,
And so many people are like that. Look at all these people who marry for a green card and then they get trapped.
mm-hmm.
What about these, arranged marriages, 8-year-old kids with 40-year-old men? There's a lot of things out here that make you like, what? I'm not,
Crazy.
no, I can't do this. Or don't let me get
Mm-hmm.
18. I'm out.
Yeah,
Hmm. I ain't sacrificing that.
and
Mm-mm.
and it's based. I'm gonna tell y'all, my own personal example that I created. I became a martyr for my own victimhood, Miss B. Um, and in order to make myself feel better, and reverse or wash away the pain or the memories of my childhood abandonment experience. And it took some time for me to realize that. It's like I put myself in a position to become, that knight in shiny armor where I'm, supporting a broken woman and her child, and I want to bring them up, and I want to do and teach, and we're gonna grow together. But it was somebody that I barely knew. Um, somebody that I cared about her a lot, and I did grow to love her, um, flaws and all. Um, raise her child and just be this happy family at all costs because of my experience. But the truth is, Miss B, it was thoughtful. Oh, it was convenient for her, and it was stupid. You never make any decisions to be in a relationship based on off a past hurt or situation. Because first and foremost, it didn't work. It's like I took them out of one frying pan and I gently placed them into a large, deep fish fryer. Because what I mean by that, Miss B, is that yes, she was beautiful. She was physically attractive. She was sexually mature, but mentally, emotionally, and dealing with reality and real life situations, she was immature. Um, she was still a child. So she became a convenience track star. And what I mean by that is that by her being in her situation and me taking her out of that, it only became convenient when I kept doing for her, and she was still um, not in a place where she learned or could get love properly or show love properly. So, it's like, again, jumping out of one frying pan to the other. And she was a track star because as soon as, you say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do something, she goes back into her own place or situation where as though her place where she was comfortable, not feeling like she was deserved or not having any accountability for the things that she's done in the relationship. So, you know, um, convenience became, a thing where you um, use or abuse someone as a crutch. Um, and I always say pinata because that's a good experience, sometimes a good word to use when, you're there and someone is just like beating you with that stick mentally, emotionally, physically, and whatever it is that they can. And because they don't know how to love, they don't know how to do the right things, but you think that you can go in and teach and help somebody to grow, and it's not worth it. To be in a situation like that with somebody, and it's convenience when again you use or abuse someone as a crutch or a pinata because you don't have the willingness or the desire or courage to face and fight your own demons. Convenience is tolerating the situation, just doing enough to keep interest in or having the feeling of a relationship to obtain or maintain money, security, or material things. Um, what other convenient scenarios that you can think of right now um, that people do or people are into at this point in time?
I think I gave them to you the first half of the show, but I'll just recap. A lot of people get married for a lot of reasons. Let's start with people who want a green card. Let's start with people who want extra benefits from the military. Let's start with people who don't have health insurance and someone does. Let's start with people who want more tax deductions. Let's start with people who want to I guess security for their inheritance away from other people. There's a lot of reasons that has nothing to do with love, but it's an arrangement. You know what I'm saying? Let's get married because we're business partners, and if anything happened, we don't have to go through a lot of. It's automatically the other person's,
Mm-hmm.
um, and love has nothing to do with it. It's an arrangement. So, when you talk about the meaning of love at the begin, you talked about the meaning of love at the beginning of the video. I know we got about 8 minutes left, but in reality, it is not just the climate of society now. This has always been around. Um, you think let's go. Let's talk about Ruth and Boaz. They didn't get married because of love. They got married because, hey, she good looking. She married my cousin. He dead. I'm next in line. Take this sandal in exchange. Well, what's that all about? You know what I'm saying? So convenient marriages is nothing new. It's even biblical. So we need to understand that whatever fits the purpose, who are we to judge that our moral compass should say that ain't right?
Yeah,
I'm just
I
saying.
definitely agree. And these are just I have some tips, some really not really tips, but have some comparisons that you could kind of use for yourself to figure out that if you're in a convenience relationship, or are you really in love? So the two differences you have, when you talk about true love, normally, you both are, um, you think rational, you do rational things with and for each other. Whereas though in a convenience relationship, a lot of times the things that you're thinking, the things that you're going through, how you respond and react in the relationship is totally irrational. Um, you put yourself in situations where, possibly police can be involved. Um, people going to the hospital or somebody calling family members and things like that. So, that's a difference as a difference in that capacity as far as that's concerned. Um, you know, uh, love is um, really like your being. The things that you think about the other person. It's like great, it's joyous, it's wonderful. Whereas though if you're in a convenience situation or this convenient love, it's
A
based on
mess.
feelings. Yeah, but it's messy. It's based on like a lot of crazy and negative feelings, things of that nature. And it's really not the best. Um, uh, when you're in love with somebody, you have no problem with pleasing your mate or doing things that they would like you to do. Um, but when you're in a convenience relationship, you're selfish. You just have this. It's a selfish pleasure. It's me, 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 I. So the lack of reciprocation is really not there in a relationship. So, um, whereas though I think that when you're in love, it's an expression of love, and when you're in a convenience situation, it's an act of passion. Sex is an act of passion, but it's not. It's not expressing of love like I'm giving myself to you, um, and you really want to. It's just something that when you're in a convenient situation, a lot of times you just do things, you know, just to get by, or you feel like I'm going to do this. It's a bore, it's a chore. Um, and when you love somebody, Miss B, do you think it's a choice that you do? Like, I love this person, it's a choice. Um, and you're dealing with a convenient situation, in my opinion. Um, you love somebody based on what they're doing for you. That's not love, but I think people misconstrue it. So it's like a feeling you get when somebody's doing something for you, if it makes you happy, and it's not the third. So it's a little bit different, in my opinion. Uh, when you're truly in love with somebody, love is unconditional, and you know, you mentioned that a little bit earlier. Whereas though in a convenience relationship, um, the things you do for the person, the way you feel about the person is conditional. Um, when you're in love with somebody, you really think about that issues or situations come up. You want to work it out. You want to talk about it. You want to process. You want to see what's really going on. Whereas though in a convenience relationship, in my opinion, um, issues are either avoided, they're handled negatively, um, and a lot of times, you know, you just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm out. I'm rolling because and whatever's going on right now, it doesn't feel good, so I choose to go. Whereas though if you truly love somebody, you know, you exhaust every option. You do what you can prior to taking that exit. Um, and I think I can't think of anything else right now, you know,
Well, I
but
think you
you know,
broke it down pretty good for us. There's a difference between love and of convenience, and uh, when to know, how to respond. You know, and unfortunately, that's just the way the world is. Relationships, a lot of it is for convenience. A lot of it is out of necessity. Whatever it is, if it ain't real love,
real
it's out
love.
there. You know what I'm saying? But then again, we could talk about what is real love. How do you identify relationships, and what do you call real love? How do you experience it? How do you show it? How can you identify real love? That's another question. What is real love in relationships?
Mm.
We talk about sacrifices and dedication, and and it's just a lot that you can talk about. But again, my take on it is know the difference between being in love and loving someone. You don't fall in and out of love, you fall in and out of attraction. You always love people, but you may not still be attracted to them or be able to communicate on the same level. But if you truly love, you always love them. That's why a lot of ex-wives and husbands are still friends, because they love each other. They just realized it was not a good mix. But if you don't understand that love conquers a multitude of sins. In other words, you do you, boo, but I'm still gonna love you. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We just can't do it together. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Hey,
right.
what's happening? Oh, that's your new chick? Yeah, not a problem. Oh, that's your new man. Good
How
luck to
you
you.
doing?
I'm happy
You
for
okay?
you, boo. Let me know if you need anything. We good. I just can't do it with you. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no
Absolutely.
falling in and out of love. You just, don't communicate on the same level, but you should always love and respect. And if you don't feel the affection and love, always respect. So that being said, Chris, thank you so much. We finished for the night, boo.
We are finished, and the next show will be.
Don't quit your day job, honey. Please don't quit
Oh,
that day job.
the next show will be first August 4th, Wednesday, which is I'll tell you about it a little bit later on. I'm not gonna tell you about it now, but yeah, the next show will be on August 4th, and I will, probably post something in between in the Issues of Men platform and on the YouTube page. But with that being said, Miss B and I, we love you. Take care. And, I just always say, checking in and checking on you. So, with that being said, for the issues of men, we love you. And we are out this evening.
We're out this evening. All right, son. Everybody, Issues of Men every other Wednesday, 7 p.m. East Coast time. Issues of Men with Author Chris Allen. Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye.